When I was a little girl, I'd lie awake at night, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, dreaming of a love that felt like home. Not the kind you see in movies or hear in songs, but something deeper, something sacred. A love where I could stand shoulder to shoulder in prayer, share secrets over late-night tea, and grow closer to Allah together. I didn't know if it existed, but now I live it every day. And it's more beautiful than any dream I ever had. It's Eid morning. The world outside is alive with joy. Children in sparkly shalwar kameez dart through the streets. Aunties exchange trays of sheer kurma, and the air hums with laughter and takbir. But in our little apartment, it's quiet. Just me and my husband, sitting on the couch, our hands wrapped around warm mugs of chai. The window is cracked open, letting in the scent of jasmine and grilled kebabs from the neighbor's barbecue. I rest my head on his shoulder, and for a moment, the world feels perfectly still. Because this quiet, unspoken love is what marriage is made of. Not the grand gestures or viral proposals, but the small, sacred moments that stitch two lives together. I'll never forget the evening I came home broken. It was one of those days where the world felt too heavy. Work had drained me, my heart was tangled in worries, and I didn't have the words to explain why. I slipped off my shoes, made wudu, and prayed Maghrib. But when I finished, I didn't get up. I stayed on the prayer mat, my forehead pressed to the ground, tears soaking into the fabric. He must have heard me come in, but he didn't rush to ask what was wrong. Instead, he waited. Minutes passed, and then I felt him sit beside me. No words, just his presence. His hand found mine, warm and steady, and he gently stroked my hair. He didn't push me to talk or try to fix me. He just stayed, silent, solid, like an anchor in a storm. That night, as we sat there in the dim glow of the living room lamp, I realized something profound. Love doesn't always need to speak. Sometimes it's enough to simply be there, holding space for someone's pain until their light returns. That moment became a cornerstone of our marriage, a reminder that love can be as quiet as a heartbeat and still change everything. I find joy in the little things I do for him. It's not about obligation, it's about love. I know exactly how he likes his tea. 2 teaspoons of sugar, a whisper of cardamom, steeped just long enough to turn golden. I love watching his face light up when I make his favorite Thai green curry. The way he takes a bite and pretends to be unimpressed, only to grin like a kid and say, "Okay, fine, this is amazing." One weekend, I decided to surprise him. I spent the whole morning in the kitchen, chopping, stirring, and tasting. By the time he came home, the dining table was a dawat straight out of a family gathering. Biryani with golden raisins, chicken korma, crispy samosas, and a chilled pitcher of rose sharbat. His eyes widened as he walked in. "Did my mum sneak in here?" he teased, pulling me into a hug. We laughed until my sides ached, and he kept saying, "Thank you," like I'd gifted him the moon. But it's never about the food or the effort. It's the feeling behind it, the baraka and the intention. The quiet thrill of knowing you've made someone you love feel seen and cared for. Love, I've learned, lives in these small, deliberate acts of devotion. What makes our marriage feel truly sacred is how we grow in our deen together. It's not just about living as husband and wife. It's about being partners in faith, walking hand in hand toward Jannah. Every Sunday, we carve out time for what we call our Quran hour. We spread a blanket on the living room floor, brew a pot of tea, and open the Quran. We pick one ayah and take turns sharing what it means to us. Sometimes we see it the same way. Other times we don't. But it's never about being right. It's about exploring, learning, and letting the words of Allah shape our hearts. I'll never forget the first time we read Surah Ad-Duha together. The ayah about Allah not abandoning us hit us both like a wave. He paused mid-sentence, his voice catching, and I saw tears glistening in his eyes. He tried to laugh it off, but I could feel the weight of that moment. In that quiet living room, I didn't just see my husband. I saw a man whose heart softened for his Creator, whose soul was tethered to the same truth as mine. I reached for his hand, and we sat there, letting the words of Allah wrap around us like a warm embrace. That day, I understood what it means to marry someone who doesn't just love you, but helps you love Allah more. Then there are the nights we wake each other for Tahajjud. I used to dread those pre-dawn moments, the cold floor biting at my feet, my eyes heavy with sleep. I'd mumble complaints under my breath as I dragged myself out of bed. But the first time we prayed Tahajjud together, something shifted. We stood side by side in the dark, the world asleep around us. The only sound was the soft rustle of our prayer rugs and the gentle rhythm of our whispered du'as. When we finished, he turned to me, his face lit by the faint glow of the streetlight outside. That was our first night calling on Allah. As a team, he said, his smile so warm it melted the chill in the air. Now when he nudges me awake for Tahajjud, I don't grumble. I think of that night, and I'm reminded that these moments, these quiet acts of worship, are what bind us not just to each other, but to Allah. Of course, we're not perfect. We argue like any couple over the silliest things, too much salt in the dal, who forgot to pay the electric bill, or whose turn it is to vacuum. But even our disagreements have a softness to them, a boundary we never cross. From the day we got married, we made a pact. No shouting, no sleeping angry. Even when tempers flare, there's always respect. Always a thread of love holding us together. One evening, after a petty argument about whose turn it was to do the dishes, he stormed out of the kitchen. I thought he was upset, maybe needed space. 10 minutes later, he came back with 2 mugs of hot chocolate, topped with those tiny marshmallows he knows I love. He set one in front of me and grinned. "You're still my favorite person," he said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I couldn't help but laugh. That's us. Even in our messiest moments, we find our way back to each other. There's another part of marriage that's rarely spoken about, but so deeply sacred: the physical closeness, the intimacy that's shy, pure, and halal. There's something indescribably beautiful about knowing you're cherished in a way that's rooted in love, not lust. That your body, your vulnerability, your essence, all of it is honored, protected, and adored. In those quiet moments after, when we lie close, our breath slowing, our hearts sinking, I feel a gratitude so profound it brings tears to my eyes. I whisper to myself, this too is mercy. This too is ibadah. This too is a gift from Allah, wrapped in love and trust. Marriage, I've learned, isn't just about living together. It's about building something together. A home, a faith, a legacy. It's laughing over burnt toast, crying over shared fears, and praying for each other's forgiveness in the stillness of the night. It's falling, failing, and rising together. It's not always easy. It's not always romantic, but it is real. It is sacred, and it is worth every moment. Because when you marry someone who doesn't just love you, but helps you love Allah more, you begin to understand what rahmah truly feels like. It's not just a word, it's a feeling, warm, steady, eternal. It's the feeling of coming home. So to anyone out there still waiting, wondering, or maybe even afraid of what marriage could be, let this be your reminder. A marriage built on faith, mercy, and emotional closeness isn't just possible. It's breathtakingly beautiful. It's not a fairy tale, it's better. It's a journey, a worship, a love that grows deeper with every prayer, every laugh, every tear. May Allah grant us all a love that feels like home, a love that feels like worship, a love that lasts in this world and the next. Ameen.